The UFC is back at the Apex this weekend with a middleweight headliner in tow as they got the killer gorilla Jared Cannonier looking to halt the momentum of rising contender Hobocop, aka Robocop, Gregory Rodrigues. And then in the co-main event, we got Cavalcanti looking to buck the winning trend of Youssef Zalal, who has been unstoppable since rejoining the UFC ranks last year. Obviously, we got 12 other fights, or 12 total fights, to talk about on this UFC Vegas 102 card. A reminder that this is the quick picks version of the breakdown. So I'm going to get right to the point of every single matchup, taking about 20 to 30 seconds on every fight for time's sake, meaning that I'll be leaving out some details of other things that I might believe are contributing to my picks. So if there are a certain couple fights that have you scratching your head, make sure you guys check out the MMA Lawcast, which I dropped earlier this week on the YouTube channel. And then you can scroll to whatever matchup that you're concerned about, as I have everything timestamped so you can hear a little bit more in depth about every single matchup. Otherwise, if you're here just for the quick picks, I got you covered. Without further ado, hope you're laced up and ready to go, because we're off and running with the first fight of the night with Julia Avila going up against Jacqueline Cavalcanti. I believe Cavalcanti is the better striker here, and I think her technical advantages will allow her to keep this fight upright and batter Avila from distance. That doesn't mean I agree with Cavalcanti being such a big favorite, and I wouldn't mind a little chip shot on Avila to try to pull off the upset. But my official prediction will be Cavalcanti by decision. Next up, we got Walter Walker going up against Don'Tale Mayes. Usually heavyweights like to get that main card spot, but when the matchmakers believe that we're going to get a slow, grueling, and boring fight, they normally put it on the prelims, and I'm expecting nothing less from this matchup, which to me means Walter Walker will likely keep Don'Tale Mayes in defensive positions, keeping him up against the cage or dragging him to the ground and utilizing his grapple-heavy approach to nullify the offensive Mayes. And I believe Walker will win this matchup on the scorecards. Next up, Vince Morales takes on UFC debutant Elijah Smith. I believe this fight will ring true, similar to what we saw last weekend with Rong Zhu and Cody Steele, with the inexperienced Elijah Smith coming in as the favorite. Maybe not as big of a favorite as Cody Steele, but he might get a little bit of a vet lesson from Vince Morales, who is a little bit more well-rounded and has more experience. Smith has the hardware to obviously get his hand raised here, but I think Morales will be able to wear Smith down, stay competitive in the striking realm, and eventually get to his submission game, which has been so dangerous for him in the last couple of years. Look for Morales to wear Smith down and eventually find the submission in the second or third round. Next up, Gabriel Bonfim going up against Chaos Williams. A fun strikers battle here, which I believe will actually go past the 1.5 round mark. So if you can get a good line on that, I think it's not a bad shot. But I do believe Bonfim is the better striker and better overall mixed martial artist. As long as he can stay conscious in this matchup, he should be able to touch up Chaos Williams and win this fight on the scorecards. Next up, Rafael Estevam going up against Jesus Aguilar. It's a shame that Estevam, the undefeated fighter, has not been more active as of late, but I think this is a great opportunity for him to get back on the horse and finish Jesus Aguilar. I think Estevam will get his back eventually and find that rear naked choke and force the tap within 2 rounds. Next up, we got Angela Hill going up against Ketlin Souza. A pick'em fight here, and for good reason. You got the experience and striking of Hill mashed up against the aggressiveness and submission ability of Ketlin Souza, but I'm going to have to lean with the veteran here in Hill, as I think she will stop most of the takedowns from Souza, be competitive should this fight hit the mat, but most importantly, get ahead on her on the numbers in the striking realm, where I feel she has a big enough advantage. Looking for Hill to put the numbers on Souza here and win it on the scorecards. Next up, Connor Matthews hopes to give Jose Delgado the first loss in his UFC debut, and I think that will not come true here, as I think Delgado is the superior striker and overall mixed martial artist, and the physicality and power of Matthews will not translate in this fight. Look for Delgado to touch up Matthews from distance, even off of his back foot, and end up winning this fight on the scorecards. Next up, Rodolfo Vieira going up against Andre Petroski. Fun grappler's delight here that could turn into a striking battle, and I have to lean on the power that Petroski brings to the table. Both guys usually suffer for some bad body language late in fights, especially with their lack of cardio. But I think Petroski has what it takes to shut down the grappling game of Vieira, given the wrestling advantage that he has in this fight. Either Petroski just shuts down Vieira from that top position or is able to utilize his striking advantage and power to put that pressure on Vieira and find the finish. My official prediction is going to be Petroski by decision, but I can't stomach thinking about parlaying Vieira in this spot. Next up, Ismail Bonfim going up against Nazim Sadykhov. You got a 29-year-old with a 20-4 record, and I believe that Bonfim will showcase that experience advantage here against Nazim Sadykhov. Both guys primarily like to strike, but I think Bonfim has more to bring to the table. And as long as Sadykhov doesn't land a big power shot that has bailed him out of some bad matchups recently, Bonfim should be able to dictate the pace and pressure of this fight and end up winning it on the scorecards. Next up, Edmund Shahbazyan going up against Dylan Budka. Shahbazyan is a top 5 to 8 fighter in the first 5 to 6 minutes of fights, but we know his cardio is usually about to dump should he get into that 7th, 8th minute of a fight. But luckily for him, I think he has a big enough skill gap here, technical gap here against Budka that I think he can put it on him early and eventually get him out of there within the first 5 minutes. If he doesn't, things will get sticky, which is why that minus 360 is a little bit iffy for me in the spot, but I'm still going to pick Shahbazyan to win and Shahbazyan inside the distance. Next up, Kattar going up against Youssef Zalal. Fun matchup here, but unfortunately, I think the sport is slowly passing Kattar by. I think Zalal is the better fighter, and obviously the momentum is in his corner, and I think he can do a good enough job in terms of remaining competitive in the striking realm, and then eventually getting this fight to the ground and showcasing his aggressive submission approach, which I believe will end up coming through. I see a lot of people leaning on the Sterling fight and saying that Sterling was unable to finish Kattar, but I believe Zalal is a little bit more aggressive than Sterling, and with his striking as well, I think he can eventually set up a either club and sub opportunity or set up a solid takedown to get the back and eventually find that submission. So the official prediction will be Zalal by sub. And that brings us to the main event with Jared Cannonier going up against Gregory Rodrigues. I feel like Cannonier is on a bad downslope right now, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that he is a month shy of his 41st birthday. Look for Rodrigues to utilize a solid pace and pressure and really leaning on that power that he brings to the table. And I think he'll be able to take advantage of the diminishing durability and speed of Cannonier. And we've seen Cannonier get hurt numerous times over his last couple of fights. And I think Rodrigues can put a stamp on this matchup by getting a finish in the 2nd or 3rd round. Give me Rodrigues inside the distance. There you guys go. Quick picks for UFC Vegas 102. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and all the other great content that's coming out today. I got a few more videos for you guys, so make sure you guys stay tuned to this YouTube page. Hit that like, subscribe, and drop a comment, and let me know which fights you may disagree on or agree on, and hopefully we can cash some tickets this weekend.